So now we've been exploring trigonometry for a little bit, we're going to introduce two new concepts to our understanding. And they are the angle of elevation and the angle of depression. And I've got some diagrams here to help us. So the angle of elevation, think elevation going up, is when I take a point, such as this dog here, and I look at the dog's eye level, or I draw in the dog's eye level. And then we think about that dog looking up at something, such as this bird. So the angle from the eye level up to the bird is known as the angle of elevation. If we reverse that and look at the eye level of the bird and the angle from this eye level down to the dog, we get the angle of depression. So D, depression, down, and elevation is up. This diagram's also very important. So again, we've got the plane. This could be the plane's eye level looking down towards that point on the ground. And we can see that this is labelled 15 degrees. And you'll notice that this here is also 15 degrees, which means these two triangles are identical. So this distance here is the same as this distance here, this distance here, the same as this distance here, and the angle's the same, and that will come in handy with some of the questions that you'll have to answer. So this would be an example of a question that includes angle of elevation or depression. So we've got a scuba diver spotting a shark, and the horizontal distance between the shark and the scuba diver is 12 metres. We're also told that the scuba diver is 3.45 metres below the shark, and we want to find the angle of elevation from the scuba diver to the shark. And so that's a lot of information to process. Sometimes you will need to work through that slowly and draw a diagram. But for this particular question, I've drawn it up for you. So we can see horizontal distance from the scuba diver to the shark, 12 metres, and the scuba diver is 3.45 metres below the shark. So from the scuba diver's line of sight, from their eye level, up to the shark is what we're trying to find, the angle of elevation. Let's have a look at how we can use this triangle and label it using our understanding of trigonometry. So opposite my reference angle is my opposite, hypotenuse, adjacent. And I don't need my hypotenuse because that gives me no information for this question. And I'm trying to find my angle. So this is a type 3 question. And when I want to, or when I'm using information related to my opposite and my adjacent, I'm going to use my tan ratio. It's always a good idea to write out your ratio or formula. Oh, okay, we can see what that says. So we've written down the formula. Now we're going to substitute our values into the formula, step 5. So tan of theta, which is what I'm trying to find, equals opposite, 3.45 divided by my adjacent, which is 12. And hopefully you remember, or you're looking at your summary sheet during this video, and you'll recognize that this is a type 3 question where we're trying to find our angle. And so we want to get rid of this tan from the front of theta, so we're left with theta by itself. And the way I do that is I take inverse tan to the -1. And then I pop that into my calculator and it gives me 16.04 degrees. And usually when it's degrees, they'll often tell you to round it to the nearest degree, which would be 16 degrees. So from the scuba diver up to the shark, would be 16 degrees. That is the angle of elevation. Let's have a look at this one. The angle of depression of a point on the ground from the top of a 25-metre tower is 30 degrees. How far away, correct to 2 decimal places, is the point from the base of the tower? So this time I haven't drawn the diagram, so we're going to have to think through the bits of information and see what we can get down. Remembering that we're trying to create a triangle so we can utilise our understanding of trigonometry. Okay, we've got a tower that is 25 metres, so I'm going to draw that in. Oh. 25 metres. And I also have a point from the base of the tower that's a certain distance away, and that's what we want to find. And the other bit of information I want to know is the angle of depression from the top of the tower. So I'm going to draw that eye level marker. So this angle coming down is 30 degrees. And you might need to remember that diagram that had the plane where we looked at the similar triangles. And we can see from that if this angle in here is 30, then this one is also going to be 30. And so what we can do is draw out our triangle that we need to be working with. 25 metres, x, and 30 degrees. And so what we're back to is a question that we're quite familiar with. Just draw that in a bit better, 30 degrees. So now I'm up to step 2, labelling my triangle. So from the reference angle, opposite, adjacent, hypotenuse. And I'm not interested in this hypotenuse because I've got information or unknowns on my opposite and adjacent sides. So again, I'm going to be using my tangent ratio. Tan of some angle equals opposite over adjacent. And then I substitute in my values. So I've got tan of 30 is equal to my opposite value, 25, divided by x. And having a look at your summary chart from our video a couple of times ago, and you'll notice that this is a type 2 question. So we can switch these around. And I'm left with x is equal to 25 divided by tan of 30. Putting that into my calculator, I end up with x is equal to 43, rounded to 2 decimal places, 30 meters. So, from the base of the tower to this point, this distance here is 43.30. So, we've been through an angle of depression and an angle of elevation question, and we've looked at drawing a diagram. So now I want you to go away and have a go at some of those questions yourself.